There was a moment at Anfield when Mohamed Salah stood still, clapping the crowd longer than he ever does. Not smiling, not waving, just clapping, slowly, intentionally. And in that moment, something felt different. It did not feel like celebration again. It felt like awareness, like a man who knows something has changed. Even if nobody has said it out loud yet, you understand? You that watch that match, you will know. Because for the first time since Mohamed Salah arrived at Liverpool, he is no longer untouchable, and that is uncomfortable to say. You understand? Not because it is disrespectful, not because it erases what he has done before in the past, but because it forces us to face the hardest truth in football. Even legends meet time, even kings face transition, and even the greatest love stories eventually reach a complicated chapter. Welcome back to the channel. If you love football stories that go deeper than headlines, deeper than arguments, deeper than anger, if you love understanding what football really is beneath the noise, then you are in the right place. Subscribe, like this video, and settle in. Understand? Because this is not just a story about Mohamed Salah. This is a story about legacy, change, identity, and the most difficult question any great club ever faces. When do you move on, and how do you do it without destroying what came before? You understand? Now, let us talk properly. Mohamed Salah did not arrive at Liverpool as a superstar. Take note. That part matters. He arrived as a second chance. A player who had failed at Chelsea. A player who had been doubted in England. A player who came with hunger, not entitlement. From the moment he stepped onto the pitch, in that first season, something clicked. Not slowly, instantly. Goals came in waves, records fell, defenders panicked, Anfield found a new song, and Liverpool found something even more powerful than goals. They found belief. Salah was not just scoring, he was redefining what was possible. A player from a small village in Egypt became the face of one of the biggest clubs in the world. Not through marketing, not through hype, through output, through his hard work. He earned it through consistency, through relentless excellence. He retried at those times. Not that now that he is facing a bad phase. Season after season, Salah delivered goals in finals, goals in the races, goals when Liverpool needed them most. He carried pressure like it weighed nothing. He became inevitable, and over time, inevitability turns into expectation. That is why the story changes. Because when a player becomes inevitable, he also becomes untouchable. Systems adapt to him. Teammates orbit around him. Managers protect him. Fans defend him. And slowly, without anyone noticing, the team stops asking one important question. What happens when the inevitable becomes human again? This season is the first time Liverpool have truly had to ask that question, which they have ignored before. They have to ask, Salah is now 33 years. That matters, not emotionally, physically. Football does not negotiate with age, oh. It does not care about murals or memories you created before. It only cares about your legs, recovery, and intensity. And the star saw that, and he did something very brave. He did not erase Salah entirely from the team. He did not disrespect him. He simply removed the guarantee. Dropping Salah from the Champions League, like I guess Inter, was not just tactical. It was symbolic. He said something Liverpool have not said in almost a decade now. Nobody starts because of the past. That decision created tension because Salah has never lived in a Liverpool where he is optional. You understand? He know that he is there because no matter how they do, he will be the one to start. So he is now optional, and here's where we must be careful because he's no longer untouchable. It does not mean being finished. It means being human. It means being part of a system again, not the system itself. Against Brighton, when Salah came on early due to Joe Gomez's injury, the atmosphere was so strange, not hostile, not hungry, curious. Everyone was watching, not to judge, but to understand. Will Salah adapt to this new Liverpool? What we saw was fascinating. Salah walked, he ran, he tracked back, he created, he assisted, he did his job, but he was not the center of gravity anymore. The role belonged to Hugo Ekitike, and this is where Liverpool's future quietly announced itself. Ekitike does not play like Salah, though he does not need the ball to fit on the wing. He attacks space, he finishes early, he moves defenders, and when a team changes its focal point, everything around it shifts. Florian Wirtz started finding rhymes. The midfield started flowing differently. Liverpool looked less predictable, less dependent, and that is both exciting and terrifying at the same time because it raises the hardest question of all. Can Mohamed Salah thrive in a Liverpool that no longer revolves around him? Can it survive? This is not about ego. It is not about energy. It is about adapting your instincts after 10 years of doing things one way. Salah's assist from the corner, his chance let on, his applause to the fans, all of it felt like man standing between two realities. Still good enough, still dangerous, but no longer guaranteed the crown of starting anymore. You understand? Somebody has taken that crown. And yet, his legacy, Salah's legacy is untouched in Liverpool. 250 goals, league titles, Champions League nights, golden boots, memories that cannot be deleted by one interview or one benching or one tactical decision. Legacy is not about how you live, it's about what you leave behind. But football does not stop at legacy. It moves forward relentlessly. And now Liverpool are standing at a crossroad. Do they evolve gently, allowing Salah to transition into a different role? Or do they risk emotional damage by forcing the future too quickly? And what does Salah want? That is a great unknown question. Many people are asking. Even Ancelotti himself does not know what Salah wants or what Salah have in his mind. Because the man who won't say, if I speak, there will be fire, is not someone who faces quietly. And that is where this story truly becomes so interesting and you might want to hear. When you really sit with this situation, you begin to understand that this is not just about football anymore. This is about identity. This is about time. This is about what happens when a club starts preparing for the future. Why a legend is still standing in the present. Because Mohamed Salah just just another Liverpool player. He is a symbol. He's an era. He is the face of Liverpool's modern revival. And that is why this transition feels uncomfortable, emotional, and deeply personal for everyone involved. For years now, Salah was untouchable. Before, people that have been watching, he was untouchable. The whole Liverpool squad was looking forward for him, not just because of goals, but because of what he represented: reliability, fear, confidence. Opponents planned entire games around stopping Salah. You understand? Everybody wants to stop him. So teammates trusted that somehow he would deliver. Managers built systems to maximize him. Now, slowly, quietly, that reality is changing entirely. Not because Salah has suddenly become a bad player, no, but because football does not wait. The Premier League does not slow down. And clubs like Liverpool do not pause evolution out of sentiment. And Slot has inherited a difficult responsibility, not to erase Salah's importance, but to redefine it, to move Liverpool from a Salah center attack to something more balanced, more flexible, and more sustainable. That is why the recruitment of players like Florian Wirtz, Alexander Isak, and Ugo Ekitike matters so much. These are not just signings, they are signals. Signals that Liverpool are planning a future where goals, creativity, and responsibility are shared. And in that future, Salah is no longer the sun around which everything revolves. He's part of a constellation. And Salah might feel bad about this because I believe Ancelotti plans might be without Salah. So that is a hard thing for any great player to accept. You understand? Think about it. Salah's entire Liverpool career has been built on being the difference, on being decisive, on being trusted in the biggest moment, on being first on the team sheet. Now he is being rotated, benched, asked to adapt, asked to support rather than dominate. That is not an insult too, but to a competitor of Salah's level, it can feel like one insult to him. We don't know. We saw that tension at least. We saw it in his body language. We saw it in his words. And even if people want to dismiss it, it was real. But here is where this story becomes more interesting. Because against Brighton, when Salah came on early, he did not sulk, he did not hide, he worked though, he tracked back, he created chances, he assisted, he tried to fit into that new shape that matters. It tells you that this is not a player giving up, this is a player wrestling with change. And change is always hardest for those who once stood at the very top. It's usually very hard for them to come back. What made that Brighton match so emotional was not just Salah's performance, it was the reaction, the applause, the lingering moments after the final whistle, the way he looked at the stands, the way the stand looked back at him. It felt like uncertainty, not goodbye, not confirmation, just a quiet understanding that something is shifting. Something is shifting. You understand? Liverpool fans are not blind. They know what time does. They know what evolution looks like. But they also know gratitude. And Salah has earned a lifetime of that gratitude. Because this man, if you want to talk about Liverpool story back then, you have to mention Salah. And just be clear about something important. Salah's legacy is not under threat. Not even close. 250 goals, you understand? Champions League winner, Premier League winner, Golden Boots, record-breaking seasons, iconic moment, global influence around the world. You do not erase that with one interview. You do not damage that by benching him. You do not rewrite that with tactical evolution. Legends are defined by what they give, not how they faded. Everybody can fade. You understand? That's how people grow. The real question now is not whether Salah is still good enough to play for Liverpool. He is. The question is whether he can adapt to a role that demands less spotlight and more sacrifice. Some great players can, some cannot. History gives us example. Ryan Giggs did it. Andre Pirlo did it. Karim Benzema did it late in his career. Others struggled. Others left their teams. There's no shame in either of the outcome. You understand? Instead of stays and adapt, it becomes a bridge between eras, a leader, a closer, a difference maker in moments rather than meaning. If he lives as a king, as a player who gave Liverpool everything and asked for nothing less than excellence in return. That is why this moment matters so much. Liverpools are not pushing Salah out. They are not pushing or saying he should go. No, they still value him. They are asking him a simple question. Can you still belong in a team that is no longer built around you? And Salah right now is still searching for his answer. The truth is, nothing needs to be decided immediately. AFCON creates distance. Time creates perspective. January creates clarity. But what we can say with certainty is this. We are witnessing the final phase of Mohamed Salah's Liverpool story. Not the end. The final chapter. How that chapter reads depends on acceptance, communication, and humility on all sides. And whether, and whatever happens, you understand? Whatever happens next, one thing will never change, which I know that one thing will never change. Mohamed Salah is Liverpool history. Seriously. He's painted on walls, sung in chants, written into record. Remember in moments. So what do you want to tell me? This man has really lifted Liverpool up. And seriously, if you did not mention it, you are truly a generous person. Football moves on. It always does. But legends do not disappear. They remain. If you enjoyed this deep, emotional football story, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like the video, share it with someone who understands what football really means beyond the pitch, and let me know in the comments. Should Salah adapt and stay, or should he live on his own terms? I will see you in the next one. For now, bye!